I'm in Fort Worth. Damn autocorrect sucks. Hey, your horn blows, do you? What I don't understand is why are we letting the news tell us who the president is when we already don't trust them?
Say you every day, guitar, it's Geronimo!
Damn, this is boring. I'm sorry, this shit sucks.
To do that because we are now projecting that Donald Trump will win the state of Ohio. Donald Trump will win the state of Ohio tonight. It's 18 electoral votes, excuse me. Go to Donald Trump. He won it 4 years ago. He will win it again tonight. Chris Christie, I guess that's not a surprise, but still an important win.
Really important because there was no way for the president to win without Ohio. And as we know, no Republican president has ever been elected without Ohio. So, you know, when you talk about a must-win state, when you got that much history behind it, it's a must-win state. So he pulled it off. It took a little longer than we all thought, but he pulled that one off, and it allows him to continue in the game.
The question, Yvette Simpson, now is what is that going to tell us about what happens in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania?
Well, you just don't know. Let's remember that Ohio was the one state in that area that didn't flip in 18. So I don't want to cast aspersions about what might happen. So Ohio was red for Trump, and then it was red again. We lost statewide in Ohio for a lot of reasons. We didn't win any of the congressional races that we were fighting in 18. But Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, they all flipped, presumably, in the midterm. So I still hold out hope for those other three states, even though, unfortunately, my home state of Ohio did not come through today.
Rahm Emanuel, Donald Trump is getting out his vote.
Yeah, I mean, so we can start to extrapolate certain information. And that is that Donald Trump is in the race of Donald Trump versus Donald Trump's beating 2016 Donald Trump. And while the numbers, and we keep showing how Biden is beating Hillary, but the total vote is not showing up at the right now in areas that Democrats need. So when DeKalb County is still out in Georgia and other areas, what is your expectation for that vote? And so far, while he may be winning 65-35, et cetera, the totality of the vote is not matching the totality of Trump's vote in Trump's area, in areas, except for, I do want to keep coming back to, we have had a state flip. Only one state has flipped, and it's flipped towards Biden. And so we got to keep that in mind at this area.
You keep saying that. I have to keep reminding our viewers that we have not yet projected Arizona going.
That is true. We have not projected it, but if you look at the math, it's hard to see how it does it. That is fair, but that is the only state that is so far, and it's up by 9.5 points.
What are you learning from Ohio?
From Ohio, I mean, obviously the president won by the same margin tonight as he did in 2016. And when you look, to a point John Carl made, which is you look at Western Ohio. Now, that is a good sign for Donald Trump in Pennsylvania. I'm hearing on the ground in Pennsylvania African-American turnout down in Philadelphia, and that fracking issue did, in fact, hurt Joe Biden in Pennsylvania, that you see big turnout in those areas for Donald Trump.
And what are you seeing, David, in the exit polls from Ohio?
A lot of really interesting things coming in on Ohio. First, let's take a look at the suburban vote in Ohio. 52% of it went to Donald Trump, and then you do the breakdown, which really illustrates the gender gap, but it's huge. With women, Joe Biden won with women in the suburbs of Ohio, 53-47. But look at men. The gap is huge. 59% with Donald Trump to 39% in the exit polls for Joe Biden. On handling the economy, 56% with Donald Trump, well over 42% for Joe Biden. Job performance, 54% approve of the job performance from President Trump. Contain COVID, rebuild the economy, almost evenly split. But look at this. The opinion of Donald Trump, 51% unfavorable, but even higher for Joe Biden, 52%. This was really interesting, George. First-time voters, Donald Trump wins them, 54% to Joe Biden. It's what you said earlier, George. Donald Trump is getting out his voters. And on independents, Joe Biden with an edge, but certainly not enough to make up the room for those.
That triumph right there, that means that we have another state to project, and it is the state of Virginia. It is going to Joe Biden. It's 13 electoral votes. Again, not a surprise, but now it's been officially projected by ABC News. Joe Biden will win the state of Virginia. The blue states are filling in blue. The red states are filling in red right now. Let's go to the state of Wisconsin. Take a look at that. This is one of the states that Joe Biden will have to flip if he wants to be the next president of the United States. 64% of the expected vote is in. Right now, Donald Trump is in the lead, Tom.
Okay, so I'd like to acknowledge the gentleman from New Jersey on this one. About half an hour ago, you said the Trump campaign was feeling good about Wisconsin, and they should be. We still only have 64% of the vote in. But, George, there were 23 counties that swung for President Trump 4 years ago. I did some quick math. I was counting them. He's up in almost 20 of those pivot counties. So let's look at Milwaukee, because this is where most of the votes are going to come from right now. Only 36% in. Look at Joe Biden's numbers, though. Underperforming from 4 years ago. He's got to get that number up. And let me bring this up over here, because we're talking about the WOW counties. These are the suburb counties around Milwaukee. And they're called WOW because of their initials. First, Ozaki here. Donald Trump at 53%. We look at what he did 4 years ago. He's slightly under. Let's go over here to Waukesha, 61%. He's holding steady. And over here, Racine. This is a really interesting county. This is a county that went twice for President Bush, twice for Barack Obama. President Trump barely won it 4 years ago. He's on top in a big way. And we have to talk about Kenosha, because it's interesting what's happening here. Half the vote is in, right? But Donald Trump barely won this 4 years ago. There was huge protest because of the shooting of Jacob Blake, social unrest in the streets. It got national attention. Donald Trump right now is up here in a major way. This is not good for Democrats. Like I said, those swing counties aren't going for Democrats right now. One more county I want to talk about, Sauk County. Obama had this. It swung for President Trump 4 years ago. It was very tight. He's up there as well. We also like Sauk County because it's the home of the International Clown Hall of Fame.
Carl?
I have a very important point to make about Wisconsin, and that is this notion of the early vote. What we are told so far in Wisconsin, there's 64% of the vote in statewide. The percentage of early vote that is in Wisconsin right now, we estimate to be 0. They have not begun counting the early vote in Wisconsin. So yes, it's looking good for Donald Trump right now, but that will change dramatically as they open those envelopes. They do the work, the slow counting of counting the mail-in ballots.
I want to bring Terry Moran in for more on that. You have more information on this, Terry?
That's right. So Wisconsin has one of the most decentralized systems for counting mail-in ballots in the country, but we are told, ABC News has been told repeatedly by officials throughout the state, that they expect those big counties to be counted in full by early tomorrow morning, 4 or 5 in the morning Central Time. And so we should have a better picture of those votes that John Carl is talking about by early tomorrow morning.
Forgive me, I might have missed you say the percentage. How many of those by 4:35 tomorrow morning?
100%, according to what officials in Wisconsin are telling ABC News. They should have Milwaukee County, they're telling us, by 5 a.m. Central Time. Brown County, which is Green Bay, sometime around the same time, before dawn tomorrow morning. So Wisconsin should be known, at least as far as the count is concerned, by tomorrow morning.
That could be one of the first of those blue wall states to come in. Deborah Roberts, what more are you hearing in that from Wisconsin?
Well, you know, George, very much what Terry was just saying. The one thing that still has to be done here is that those absentee and those mail-in ballots still have to be counted. And all the elections officials around the state are saying that they just have not gotten to them yet. We're hearing, as Terry said, 5 a.m. for Milwaukee, 4 a.m. There's a state law that these officials cannot go home until those absentee and mail-in ballots are counted. So they fully expect to have them counted. They say they're deliberately working on these overnight, could very well be into the wee hours of the morning. And to John Carl's point, 2 million of those ballots around the state. So they could make a significant impact on the numbers that you're seeing right now. And again, Wisconsin is always very, very tight. But it is interesting that President Trump won Kenosha by just 200+ votes last time. And at this point, he seems to be doing very well here, the site of those protests and so forth. Apparently his message of strength, he was here a lot in Wisconsin. Apparently that message seems to be resonating, but those absentee and mail-in ballots, I think, are going to tell us a lot, and we won't know that until the wee hours of the morning, if not maybe late tomorrow.
Sarah Fagan.
Well, you know, we know the absentee and early vote in Wisconsin is about 57% of the vote. And there is a lot out. But looking at modeled data, it looks like Trump would lose that vote as it's on its own by only 5 points. That is going to make, I mean, that to me means Wisconsin's going to either be very close or it's going to move to Trump.
Mary Bruce, what are you hearing from the Biden campaign on that?
Well, George, they continue to stress, as they have in the days leading up to this, that they believe that the early vote has gone overwhelmingly to Biden, and that means that they still are optimistic, still are confident. In fact, a Biden campaign official just tweeted that we are going to win. They still are confident, even though, of course, we are at this waiting period, this intense waiting period, constantly urging everyone to be patient here. But we have to remember that the early vote, we still don't have a good sense on in so many of these critical states. That blue wall, yes. Would they have liked to win Ohio? Yes. But they still said that what they saw there were glimmers of encouraging news, especially when you look at the margin by which Biden was doing in suburban women. They see that as a good sign for Joe Biden, especially when it comes to Michigan, Wisconsin, potentially Pennsylvania. They are urging us to be patient as all of these other states come in. I can tell you the supporters behind me here are still holding out hope, very enthusiastic. There's just a lot of cheering and applause and honking, because that is how we hold an election night rally in this pandemic. The Biden team here, when they called Virginia, they are now blasting out results here on the screens behind me. But the Biden team, cautious, but still feeling very confident, George.
Bruce, thanks very much. Nate Silver, I want to bring you in right now. Just give us a sense, as you're poring over all the data coming in right now, of what you're looking at, what you're thinking, what possibilities are most present in your mind.
I mean, the easiest way for Biden to win is to hold Pennsylvania. We won't know that for a while, and also flip back Wisconsin and Michigan when you have more early votes counted, more mail vote counted. But there are other states in play. The New York Times has a model that has Georgia being very competitive once all votes are counted there. Arizona looks pretty good for Biden. I think it would be premature to call it at this point. But, you know, it's not a map where you necessarily have, or a night when you have a neat narrative. It's not quite 2016. It might wind up being 2016. It's not quite 2018 yet. We're somewhere in between.
Can you tell yet whether the popular vote is going to come in fairly close to where most of the national polling averages was? I think you had it, what, between 8 and 9% at the end?
Our best guess is that Biden's going to underperform by somewhere on the order of 2 or 3 points, but he might win by 5 or 6. It's a very early guess, but it's regionally correlated, right? So in Florida, Biden has a bigger disadvantage of that. He's going to lose Florida by several points, we think, in the end. In Arizona, he might hit his numbers or beat his polls potentially. In New Hampshire, he's very close to his polls. So it's very regionally driven. And the question is, what happens in Pennsylvania, where he was ahead by about 5 points? If you had a Florida magnitude polling error there, then that would be a photo finish going to the court, frankly.
Nate Silver, thanks very much. We have to take another quick break.
What? I see what's possible.
Probably going to end it. It's taking way too long and it's way too boring. And the results are going to be one of those pedos. So, sorry. I just can't take any more. It's draining me. Later, man. I'm taking off.